It is I, Joffey Joe, and this is this show. Call it how I see it. And on today's episode, I have a couple of things I want to talk to you all about. First and foremost, I want to talk to y'all about is All-Star games. Yes, Major League Baseball just had their All-Star game, their All-Star weekend. It was a couple of days long, and for me, I am checked out of All-Star games. In 2024, I don't really see the fun and joy watching them anymore. That is just my opinion. I have Glenn Pratt on with me for this take, and we are going to drop our opinions and feelings towards All-Star games. Yes, in all four major sports. Secondly, I am here to talk about the upcoming UFC 304 card with Carlo Esco. Yes, we're going to be diving in, talking about this UK-inspired fight card and what to expect from the main card to the main event and to a couple other fights on the card. So, definitely stuff you do not want to miss out on, especially on this episode of Call It How I See It. What up, G? Welcome back.
What's good?
Welcome back, G. I'm glad to have you on. And, what's going on, man?
Always a pleasure, man. You know when Joffey calls, it's time to call it how I see it.
That's right.
Let's get it.
That's right, G. So, G, we're hitting that point in the summertime where it's the All-Star break in the MLB. And among other things, I probably watched 10, 15 minutes of the All-Star game. I'm just, it got me a little bit, maybe because, there's a couple of Phillies in there that I wanted to see, but honestly started watching it and everything, and I just, I had to flip the channel and go catch up on one of my shows. I just didn't have my attention, my ADHD or my attention span just flew out the window and wasn't really interested in watching the rest of the All-Star game. I actually did see the last run that put the American League on top. I basically just saw the American League just, kind of win the game. So, I don't know, in a short window of time, it was kind of weird. But kudos to Moran, who hit the home run for Boston.
Right, he broke the tie. That was it right there. Right?
Yeah. So, overall, G, I wanted to, talk about All-Star games in general. So, I kind of feel since the MLB just had theirs, we have some type of leeway and light to talk about other All-Star games in professional sports and what have they really become in the year 2024. Because personally, for me, if one of them are on, it just gives me an opportunity to catch up on one of my shows. But that's just me. Everybody's different. Some people really tune in and, act like they're going to get a big viewing pleasure from watching an All-Star game, which I don't see anymore. It's not like how it was when I grew up or how things were growing, even probably when you were growing up too.
Right.
So, what's your take on the All-Star games? Every sport.
Right. I look at the All-Star games like I look at award shows. When I was younger, I couldn't miss them.
Right.
I was in on all of them. And as I got older, seems like I got away from it a little more. And when it comes to these All-Star games in sports, to me, you're going to have them as an exhibition. It's hard to play football all out without that risk of injury and have exhibition labeled to it, or, that's out there for the fans. Right. I think baseball definitely lends. Basketball could do it too if they took it serious.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They could do it if they really wanted to play a game defensively, offensively, put everything together. I think they could make a good game. Baseball, to me, without a player getting hit in the face on a pitch, to me, there's less time. There's a less. I guess in sports, you can always get hurt.
Right.
Let's be real. I used to tell my son when he was younger, you don't want to get hurt, son. Join the chess club. Because otherwise, when you're on the sports field or on a court, you can get hurt. That's what sports are.
Yes.
But when it comes to All-Star games, you're talking about exhibition just for the fans. It's really not a serious game. Football, to me, hockey, they don't lend to be played on an exhibition level.
No.
Basketball and baseball, I think they could do it. I think baseball would be the one that I would choose because I think you can make that or the spectacle of it. But we talked about this too, Joffey. Why won't they go with, to me, which would be more interesting, is to have some kind of skills competition.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then in order to do that, you need the best guys to be out there doing it. Just when it comes to the slam dunk contest, but what if O'Shea Ohtani was in the home run derby? Judge is in the home run derby.
Yes.
That changes everything.
Yes,
and they bring that up with the dunk contest. You don't get the best players.
No.
So with that being said, yeah, you tune in because it's MLB home run derby. What if Judge Ohtani, some of the other guys
Harper.
we know that are right. People would be all over. It would be a whole different world.
I agree.
But you know what I mean? So without getting those guys into it, it's tough. They've lost their luster, man, over time. Maybe the kids. It's all about the kids. Is that what we're going to say?
Yeah.
All about the kids?
Yeah. Even when we can go back to in the 90s and stuff, when we had McGuire, Ken Griffey Jr. winning 3 of them, Sammy Sosa, they had the biggest hitters in there, and it really, that type of All-Star games, like you were saying, bro, it definitely brought things to light in the MLB, and it definitely, especially with the home run era going on with Sosa and McGuire and everything. That was big. It was huge. And like slam dunk competition, most people wanted to tune in and watch the slam dunks. You know what I mean? So to
If
see
Jordan
how
was slam dunking, you don't think that's must see? If Otani was in the home run derby, you don't think that's must see?
I
You got to
definitely
get the best players.
I agree 1,000%.
You know?
I 1,000%. If you want to like, if you're the MLB, if you're Rob Manfred and everything, like, I understand like giving $100,000 and incentives or certain bonuses for each round when these guys are competing and hitting home runs and stuff. But like overall, the fans and everything, even the kids, like you're saying, the kids, they they want to see the best players out there, and they want to really see them doing something that's fun and watchable. And like that's a skill set. Hitting home runs, hitting the ball, that's a skill set that shines light in that area. But like to see like some certain players out there, or even people that aren't even in the All-Star game, in the home run derby, trying to compete and stuff. Like Pete Alonso, bro, I ain't trying to see you hit no more home runs. All right, I get it, bro.
Yeah, the lumberjack might have lost his luster.
Yeah, I'm not for that. So in general, I think they should just kind of keep it that way. I think a skill set idea would be something interesting to watch. Like in baseball, there's different things you can do, like base stealing.
Right.
You can do who throws the hardest, stuff like that. That's stuff that can bring people in. I know the Pro Bowl.
Trash can at home base, see who can throw.
Yeah.
That would be so interesting.
That would be. That would be. I definitely think it would be. And even like having like they used to have like the kids in the outfield and stuff, like trying to catch the balls and stuff. Like
Absolutely.
that was the interaction and bringing people into buying into and bringing attention and light to it is the biggest thing. And I think that's kind of what's been going away from things, especially in the NBA, bro. Like I understand that they like over time they were trying to like change the rules and stipulations to try and make the game more interesting, but honestly, like what we've seen the last 2 years,
with the draft and whatnot.
Well, that and just like trying to change the stipulations of how like how the East Coast or West Coast wins the game or something like that, like winning by win by 3, or like how they've been changing the rules and stuff. It's just like they try to do that, and it seems like it even got worse, at least in the NBA world.
Right.
The NFL, it's kind of almost just turned into a freaking flag football game, honestly. Like,
they don't play anymore, right? Don't they do something? Don't they actually play a game?
They play the flag football now, actually, right?
The flag football,
yeah,
right? It's what the game actually.
Yeah,
right, okay.
That's what it's become. So like,
right.
I can understand why a lot of people in All-Stars like or Pro Bowl nods, like when they get their invites to go to these, participate. They're like, nah, I'm good. I can find a vacation somewhere else. Like Hawaii was like a cool idea before, but now since you guys took away Hawaii, nah, not really interested no more.
You know what I mean? Absolutely.
But like when we were growing up, Glenn, even like on resumes of Hall of Fame players, like a lot of these All-Star bids and nods, like they meant a lot. They did. And now to see where things are moving forward, like I said, it doesn't really matter, and it's just something to add to your name. But when it comes down to it, seeing you participate in with the other best of the best in this type of like game, situation and everything, it's not the same allure that it used to have, and it's definitely at a point where even all the All-Star games they're jokes, bro. They're more about the hype of the weekend than the game itself. Like,
absolutely.
If I'm traveling to the All-Star weekend, personally, Glenn, I think the best time for me to leave is when the game starts. I'm like, you can book me out, get my Uber, I'll get out of the stadium. You don't have to worry about me. I don't want to watch the game. I'll be, I'll enjoy all the other festivities that come with the All-Star weekend. But,
no, that's where it's at. I agree 100%.
But so if you were to watch one All-Star game though, G, like for the rest of your life, you got to choose between the 4 major sports. Who would you choose? Or which sport would you choose? Given the stipulations of everything that goes on now.
To me, it's not even close. To me, it's baseball. I just don't even see the others being. What's hockey do? I think they do a 3-on-3 or something.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying.
Yes, they do that. It's kind of interesting how they set that up, but like that's not like traditional hockey, so it's different.
To play that sport in its nature, it's hard to do and then say that's just an exhibition or we're just having fun.
Right.
Stop. Because even the football game, when they were actually playing that, they got to a point where they weren't even tackling them.
No.
I think they got to them. They blew the whistle as soon as they got to them. That's where it got to. You know what I'm saying? Because, if it doesn't count, if it's exhibition, those sports don't lend to that. So that's why baseball, without a question, is the one. Like I said, without a guy getting hit in the face by a pitch, which is possible.
Yeah.
But we say that sport lends less injury. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to have Pete Rose running into the catcher's home plate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as long as you don't have something like that.
Right.
Otherwise, baseball for sure, no question.
I agree. I agree with you, Jay. I think Bud Selig, he kind of added a stipulation to that. Maybe he saw where that All-Star game was going over time and saw the light of it kind of dimming. So adding the stipulation of whoever wins from either side, getting the stipulation of winning or having home field advantage in the World Series.
Hated it.
Yeah, so.
I hated it. That's just me. Listen,
I understand.
You know what I mean? The way they set it up now, they all play a different schedule. Everybody, I think, plays everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so with that being said, that should determine whoever has the best record. That should determine when people start bringing up the All-Star game, decide home field. Oh, stop! Come on now.
No,
It's an exhibition game.
No.
You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right, and actually, I didn't think of it in that light either. That's very interesting that you brought that up. Everybody does play. Interleague play isn't a thing anymore. So like, why?
Right.
That is another thing too. You know.
I'm glad. I hope they never go back to that. I'm glad they scrapped that. That the best team with the best record at home field.
Yeah, I agree. And like the way things are now, like you said, everything with interleague play gone out the window. Like everybody does play each other, so you should just let that decide things, not an all-star game with players that aren't really in. That may not even be in the playoffs, may not have any type of factor in deciding anything. So that was on Bud Selig's watch. So.
Well, he tried. I think it was E for effort, but I say, I'm over it, man. I was out on that from the door myself.
I'm with you on that, G. I'm with you. But overall, man, I mean, I don't see anything changing with these All-Star games that's going to make me or you watch or get us entertained. So, I mean.
They'll take it to the kids, but they always bring up the kids. You know what I mean? When it's about the kids, it's about the kids. That's what they try to spin. That's the way they'll try to spin it anyway.
That's how the way to spin it.
To the experience of the weekend.
Right, exactly. It's about the hype and everything around it. But otherwise, it ain't about the kids. It's about the bottom line.
Let's don't get it wrong now. At the end of the day, they hide behind the kids.
I know, yeah.
Bottom line is, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Bottom line is what they're concerned about.
I agree. They're using the kids as a big shield for what they really want.
But one thing about the baseball All-Star game too, I hate the uniforms, man. I like the teams to wear their uniforms.
I agree too.
I can't believe they wear them.
I agree too. I wish they used to. I used to do that in the NBA games too, and I like even football. At least they get the helmets and stuff.
Right, exactly.
But like they're all wearing the same thing, and it's I appreciated it more when they were wearing their own jerseys. It was more dope. It was cooler. It was better representation of everything. I thought it was more clean.
It was cool, yeah.
I agree.
So that was a little bit of a turn off how they're doing it now. But like you said, that's all about jersey sales.
Yeah,
that's another jersey sale.
Yep.
It's just
more
bottom line, like you said, where the dollars.
Yep.
We get more dollars.
Yep, that's right. It's all part of that one big pot that they're trying to keep stirring up for the weekend and everything, trying to just garnish everything they can.
Never ending, man. Always thinking of a way to get in your pockets, man.
I agree. But G, I appreciate you coming on, my friend. I do.
Well, tell him, Joffey, you call me. I'm down to call it how I see it.
And that's what's up, y'all.
But, all right, yo.
All right, G. I'll see you, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Safe, Joffey. I'll talk to you, man.
All right,
Be
peace.
safe. All right, later.
Here we go, Jay. Welcome back.
Here we go.
Good to have you back on the show, my friend. I needed your expertise in the fighting world again, as we have a good lineup, not the best lineup, but given everything else going on in the sporting world right now, UFC is something that we can actually watch and talk about and get excited about. This card here seems like it has a couple good bangers, a couple interesting fights, but I mean we'll just dive right into the co-main events and the main event in general. But overall, Jay, what do you think about this card coming in?
It's a typical England card.
Yeah.
Highlighted by a lot of fighters from there.
Yes.
Highlighted by there's fighters on the earlier part of the main card, like Arnold Allen.
Right.
Somebody that was on the fast track to move up for a title shot before he ran into Max BMF Holloway.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking north of the card, and I'm looking at seeing King Green.
Yeah.
The artist formerly known as Bobby Green.
Yes.
He's fighting Paddy.
He's the one that's fighting Paddy. Right.
I have a lot of questions about Paddy. I mean, all the way back to pre-injury.
Yeah.
Has he come back the same? Apparently, this is his last fight on the contract. Is he going to boxing like everybody else?
Wants that fast cash.
Of course he does, but are the hands going to lead to that?
Yeah, that's true too. That's like his biggest thing. I mean, he's always been known as the striker.
Right. What are you going to do when you can't pick your feet up?
Exactly.
We're gonna find out. But as far as his fight this week, I believe that he should win.
Yeah.
But King, formerly known as Bobby Green, he's tricky. I wouldn't want to stand and bang with him, but Paddy should beat him.
Should be able to handle him and get things moving. But like you said, it should be interesting to know what happens with his contract moving forward. I mean, he has, even though he doesn't have any hardware yet, given his division and everything involved, like he still is bringing a lot of attention, especially for that division, and especially with his fighting style. I mean, given this, pay per view being in England, it's very fitting to have this type of fighter in there, especially given his background. And it almost kind of seems a little McGregor-ish, not maybe to the highest level of that, but we know how a lot of
Kind of.
these
Yeah.
we know how a lot of these guys from the UK are sometimes with their flamboyancy and being very vocal at most of these events that come in.
He, I don't know. He's definitely gonna hype the crowd up when he comes in.
For
He
sure.
feeds off the crowd, that's for sure.
Sure. I believe it.
Another note about him, he's one of those fighters that balloons up in weight.
Yeah.
In between fights.
Right.
So maybe he's gonna take this break and decide he needs to move up.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like you can definitely self-center after the results of this fight and like decide where he wants to go moving forward and handle everything moving forward, especially with his contract situation. But I can't see him walking. I don't see it happening.
Uncle Dana's not letting him go.
I don't think so. I'm with you on that, man. I think Dana White's got him by the leash. He's got him by the leash, man. It'd be a fool.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a contender.
No.
Yet by any means.
No.
I don't think he can beat anybody in the top 10 of that division.
Yeah,
honestly.
He's really like that is really the gauntlet of like UFC, like right there with everybody involved in that division. For someone like him, he's got to overcome a lot to get to the top of that division.
It's a long, long road.
I agree. But let's shed light to the main fight here. We got Edwards and Muhammad fighting. As we know, this is a rematch, and after the first contest, it did not ended up as a no decision.
The eye poke heard around the world, I see.
Yes, the eye poke, and a lot of people question what would have happened if this really would have went the way, because we all know Muhammad having, being able to last and work opponents and being able to have the stamina to really bang for the whole 5 rounds, 5 minutes, everything involved. It's very draining, so it's gonna be interesting to see how Leon comes in moving forward, especially defending again. I believe he's got 3 title defenses under his belt right now.
It is gonna be very interesting because since their first fight, Leon has gained confidence with his victories and title defenses.
Yes.
When you beat somebody like Kamaru Usman twice.
Yes. When
you beat somebody like a Colby Covington, who I said was the second best welterweight in the world, I gotta eat that. But just in the same case, Bilal Muhammad has not given up his pursuit of that belt and has not lost.
No, he's been on a 5-win streak as well. He's got 5 straight wins ever since that fight with Leon Edwards. He's been racking it up, bro. He's been ready. He's looking very sharp.
And they've been making every excuse not to give him a title shot until they cannot deny him anymore.
I know. Even no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, this is his moment. He's had to wait so long. If he loses this fight, who knows if he's going to be able to climb that mountain and do it again? Because it seems like he was held back before.
Right.
With Usman ahead of him, with Covington ahead of him. Rightfully so. I believe that they should have been in front of him.
Right.
But you couldn't. If he were to get one of those shots ahead, I wouldn't have been mad at it.
Right. He's earned it. That's the best way to explain it. Like, given everything, he's had this uphill battle trying to get to where he is now, and like you said, with everybody else that's been in front of him. But him just weathering the ship, getting victories along the way, having his little streak going with the 5 wins and stuff. It's really interesting. It's interesting to see how these two are going to match up. Personally, I think this is the best fight on the card.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be the most competitive.
I think so.
Leon believes in himself now.
I do.
That's something I questioned.
I agree too.
Until the headshot against Usman, I didn't know if he believed in himself. Now I know.
Ever since he was able to knock out Kamaru, it's just been up. His career's just been on the up, and I think even Dana White didn't expect him to have this type of ceiling in terms of his fighting career, even moving forward. But he's just riding this wave, and it's really cool to watch him do his thing. It is. But it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely gonna be a big challenge, especially fighting in UK and everything involved here.
Just look at where he's come from.
Right.
I mean, since the first fight, Edwards has fought Nate Diaz, almost got knocked out in the last round.
Right.
Infamous.
Right.
And then injuries have plagued his whole career. But now to see him confident champion, it's gonna be a great fight, because if Bilal can take it, it's gonna take somebody special to take it from him, and if Bilal's that guy, Bilal's that guy.
Yeah, he's got to come with his best stuff that night, and just like I said,
yes.
just make it last. Get in what he has to get in, and just handle his business. And it's gonna be a very competitive fight. I'm really interested to see what's gonna happen with it.
Rumor has it he's been in Dagestan too.
Oh yeah.
I said, well,
we know about that camp.
That's gonna be that means his stamina is gonna be in correct shape.
If there's any if there's any type of camp you want to be in, that's the one you want to be in. At least,
That's the one.
especially with this type of fight coming. So, given that fight, there is still another co-main event I want to talk about with Espinal and Blades fighting. I mean, another fight, another rematch, like we were iterating about the other fight. But as we on like the results of the results of the first match though did have a different ending though.
Last had question marks
Right.
because Aspinall hurt himself.
Right, and Blades was able to get the W there.
Yeah, but then again, we have questions.
Right, and then given where they are now, Espinal was able to secure his spot in that division, and then Blades a little bit up and down. I believe he lost this fight. He won his last fight, but the fight before he lost, I believe.
Right, he's been up and down, but Curtis Blades don't take no.
He's no slouch.
No mistake about it. He's live.
Yes,
he's a dog in this fight, but he's live.
Yes, I agree. I mean, there's a reason
he
why he's
real
part of this
power,
fight.
And he can wrestle.
Yes, he's kind of like a bear out there, just handling business.
I just hope if he touches Aspinall's chin, I hope Aspinall doesn't fold like a lot of the UK fighters we see out here.
Right.
They fighters, no jaw.
I know, and that's big, especially. I can't imagine any of these guys getting knocked out in their house like that. I really can't. It's almost just like such a home field advantage for some of these guys.
Right. I mean, when we look at the 3 fights we're talking about here,
yeah,
I think they all have a chance to lose.
Right.
In a sense, Aspinall he put no pressure on himself.
Yeah.
He's been the one calling out the GOAT. Right. He's been the one calling out John Jones.
He's the one that wants the fight, but he's got to show it and earn it. Honestly,
he has to earn it.
Right.
Because Jones has been calling for Pereira, which, in my opinion, is a bigger fight.
I do too, especially the way he's been.
It's a bigger fight.
Yeah, I agree. I think that fight would help take UFC to that new plethora of level that they're looking for. That's the type of mega fight they're waiting for.
So to me, Aspinall has to win emphatically. He has to make a statement.
Yeah, I agree.
And John Jones can't go to jail.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
Pretty simple.
It's a simple formula, but it seems like it could still, get contorted along the way, given both these guys.
Of course.
Especially with John Jones and everything involved. My man can't stay out of trouble. That's crazy.
Probably the most gifted fighter I've ever seen that can't stay out of trouble.
It's really crazy. I mean, we're talking about all-time greats. He's really already. He's I don't even know, bro. He's just on a Mount Rushmore of different type of category of all-time greats.
Oh yeah, you got him, GSP,
right,
and Khabib if you want.
Right.
It's he's there.
He is. He is the upper echelon. He is that, and that's why Espinal wants to get up there to knock it down and make a name for himself.
He wants to test himself.
But sometimes
I think Aspinall has to make a statement.
Right.
And because I don't think it's not going to be easy to get that shot with Jones. If he beats Stipe, he calls his shot.
Yeah, that's another thing too. We're still waiting for him. Waiting along the one, waiting in the wings for that fight too. So it's going to be interesting how things move. How interesting things look moving forward.
Oh, the rest of this year, pay-per-view wise, the UFC is looking strong.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a strong year overall. This, even though this one is has its own UK twist to it and everything. For the most part, though, Dana White once again delivering on the UFC cards. You know what I mean? Ever since he's been able to make this mega deal with Disney and everything, he's been riding that wave pretty well. Gotta give him credit.
Yeah, got to.
Yeah.
Gotta give him credit, but gotta wish he gave his fighters more money.
Yes, and that is the bottom line of that. But overall, I think we needed to cover everything we needed to cover in terms of this pay-per-view.
Yeah. I mean, the undercards will hold us over, but the main events will keep us up pretty late. Speaking of which,
I did want to. Yeah, I did want to. I'm glad you bring that back up before we end on that note. Given everything, we have to take the consideration of the timeline here, especially it being in the UK and everything involved here. I mean, we're looking at. We might be, since we're the privileged country that has the UFC foundation of it, we will get the normal times of these fights. But these guys, traveling over to the UK, we're talking about these guys fighting. The Edwards fight might happen at 4:45 in the morning. The Blades and the Aspinall fight might happen a little before or a little after 4:15. So there's a little bit of a timeline that it's gonna be interesting to see how some of these guys match up in the timeline.
It doesn't help the timeline that there's 2 championship 5-round fights.
Right. It does not help. No, it doesn't. That's gonna drag out for a minute. That's what I'm saying. It's not gonna happen right away. Especially there's 14 fights overall on this card, so it's gonna be a long one. It is.
They never fail to turn out when they go there. So.
Right. No, they're gonna bang out. They're gonna showcase, and the bloody fans, they're gonna love it.
Yeah, dogs. That's one thing I'd love to. 2 sports I'd love to see over in the UK.
Yeah.
UFC and soccer.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably nuts.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a different atmosphere and different environment over there. But yeah, I'm glad we were able to hit that angle. Glad you reminded me before we were able to close out. But
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you for coming on and joining us on Call It How I See It.
I appreciate you, brother.
All right, I'll see you. Have a good night.
All right, you as well.
All right, peace.